"You sure don't look like a special agent." The waitress eyeballed him. There was a small grin on her face that said, "You're either yanking my chain, or you're completely full of crap." But still, it was a nice smile. Pretty, not the kind of smile that tells a story, but one that gives 1,000 little hints, lots of sparkle, and a bit of mischief. Dale couldn't help but notice her other assets, too. Notably an illicit figure that did one heck of a job filling out her uniform. A light red, almost pink dress with white trim around the edges, snug in all the right places. She was the new girl. Her name tag read Julia. Dale was angling for her phone number, but the window of opportunity was small. The lunchtime crowd at Rich's diner was thick, and Julia had several other tables. In a sea of greasy spoons, Rich's was the greasiest. It wasn't the first place one would expect to find a federal agent in the middle of the afternoon, in the middle of Washington, D.C., in the middle of the 1970s. Everyone knew federal agents wore business suits and ate meals with 3 forks and 5 courses. But not BEI Special Agent Dale Conley. "What do you mean I don't look like an agent?" "Just look at you." Dale glanced over himself. He was wearing his usual, a t-shirt and 501s. His tan leather jacket was on the seat beside him. "What? Because I'm not wearing a suit?" "You're a mess. Your damn lip is bleeding." Dale checked his reflection in the window. She was right. The corner of his mouth was indeed split, blood already black and crusty in his 2-day beard. Patches of sweat showed through his pale blue shirt. His thick brown hair and sideburns were disheveled. He took a paper napkin from the holder on the table, dipped it into his water, then wiped at his lip. He gave Julia a smile. "Occupational hazard." Half an hour earlier, Dale had been standing among the throngs of people at the Jefferson Memorial, in sunglasses and with a tourist pamphlet held up to his face. Near the base of the statue was his mark, a monster of a man in a long military field jacket. 6'3" with lengthy arms. His hair was unkempt, his face scruffy, and his eyes had that same wild look that all the crazies had. His name was Willard Ledford, and he had been a person of interest for the FBI due to his weekly column in a local extremist newsletter. But when his credo turned from angry to outright deranged, the Bureau called the BEI. Dale had been trailing him for the last 3 weeks. For most of that time, Willard had been holed up in his apartment, only leaving for a few extended visits to the public library and several fast food runs. When he suddenly made a trip to the memorial, Dale knew it was time to risk exposing himself. Willard was gazing up at Jefferson, ostensibly studying the stoic face of the Declaration's penman, but at the same time glancing left and right at the crowd around him. The creep hadn't made a move yet, but Dale knew it was coming. Willard scanned the crowd repeatedly. Finally, he reached into his jacket and took out a small box, about 6 inches cubed. He set it at the base of the statue, then quickly turned and darted off. Dale dropped his pamphlet and ran toward the statue, pushing people out of his way. Julia motioned toward the window, where in the distance you could just make out the Washington Monument. "You work out there, huh?" She bit her lip. It was clearly all she could do to keep from laughing. Dale played right along. "Indeed I do." "Do you protect President Ford?" "That would be the Secret Service." "So you spy on the Russians, stuff like that?" "That's the CIA." "Aren't all those agencies basically the same?" Dale smiled. "Not quite." Julia gathered a couple of Dale's used napkins and glanced back at her other tables. "If you were a special agent, wouldn't you have a badge or something?" "Yep." Dale fished in his pocket and tossed his badge on the table. Julia picked it up. Her expression became more serious,
to keep listening to this audiobook. I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.